Okay, so a couple of days ago, Damian Lillard has finally requested a trade from the Portland Trailblazers after so long, so many rumors, so many things circulating. Damian Lillard has finally requested a trade from the Trailblazers. And there's a couple of things I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about from Dame's side and the Trailblazers side, and what can we see going forward now this request has been done. Now, first, I'm gonna talk about Damian Lillard. Now, Damian Lillard has been loyal to the Portland Trailblazers for so long. He has been through the phases, and he has been waiting for this team to try to rebuild around him, but every single time they fail. Their ceiling with the CJ McCollum Damian Lillard duo was the Western Conference Finals, and they got to that ceiling because of the West not being as good as it was here before. So the Trailblazers knew that was their ceiling, but they still tried to run it with those teams. So when they finally traded CJ McCollum, they tried to just have Damian Lillard and have him around just supporting pieces. But those pieces aren't enough to contend, especially in the tough Western Conference. So now that you drafted Scoot Henderson and you have a bunch of young pieces, if you really want to build around Dame, you should show that Dame by trading Scoot and trading Anthony Simons. But they're not allowing any teams to trade for those players. So Damian Lillard had nothing to do but request a trade, and I'm glad he finally did it, because loyalty can only get you so far. I made a video a couple months ago talking about loyalty and discussing Damian Lillard, because he could have requested a trade at the midseason, but he decided not to, and he sat out for the last 10 games of the regular season because there was nothing else he could do to help that team make a playoff push. Damian Lillard is an exceptional player. He's a very good point guard. He's a very good asset to a championship team and make a team win a championship. But when you're on a team like the Portland Trailblazers, who have no assets, who have no type of actual action that are showing you they want to do, you're on that team for no reason. And yes, I understand that legacy doesn't matter to some players, but at a certain extent, you should value you wanting to win. You should value you wanting to do things in your career rather than make money. Now, I'm not taking Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard made his money. He wants to do his career. Yes, I'm not taking it away from him. But as a fan, as a player, I feel sad and bad for Lillard, as he's in a position where he cannot win. He's in a position where he's not able to really maximize his potential. So Dame requests a trade, and he wants to go to the Heat, Spurs. He wants to go to the Heat, Spurs, or a contending team. Now, the Heat will be a perfect fit for him, as the Heat are losing their undrafted players they had last season that really helped them propel to the finals. But I think Damian Lillard, Gabe Vincent, and Matthews will be replaceable with Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard allows this team to play a different level than they played last season. Now, it's pretty tricky for Dame because Dame isn't on a no trade clause. He's on a regular trade clause. So the Trailblazers can do as they want to do. They can trade him to every team they want to trade him to, which makes the Trailblazers situation tricky, because if I'm the Trailblazers team, I'm now trading my franchise star. So obviously I'm rebuilding. I drafted Scoot Henderson, who I'm really high on Scoot myself, so I'm gonna watch a lot of Trailblazers games even if Dame is gone, because I like watching Scoot. So if I'm rebuilding around my third overall pick and I have Anthony Simons, and even though I signed Jeremy Grant to a massive deal, which I'm not going to talk about, and they're still going to sign that. They're still going to sign that contract, even though Lillard is going to request a trade, but that's neither here nor there. So if I'm rebuilding around Scoot and I'm a rebuilding team now, I want young assets. And if I'm trading Lillard to the Miami Heat, I'm not really getting that much young assets unless I'm getting Tyler Hero. I mean, that is an asset. Some first round picks, okay, but I'm not really getting anything that I would really want. Now, the Spurs, I could get some young players, but if I'm Lillard, I don't want to go to the Spurs because the Spurs aren't a contending team. There is no really contending teams that can really give me certain players. Now, a team that has really struck my eye is the Boston Celtics, because the Boston Celtics have to sign Jaylen Brown to an extension either this year, next year. I don't know if he has 2 years of his contract or 1 year left, but eventually Jaylen Brown will be off the books. And it is like the Celtics want to be able to pay Jaylen Brown. So if you trade Jaylen Brown for Lillard, make the contracts match up, that wouldn't be a bad deal for the Trailblazers, as you get a young star, Jaylen Brown, to play with Scoot Henderson. I don't think those two will really play that well. Maybe you could try to make it work, and then now you have Dame on a championship team. You get a young star, and you you get young assets. That could work. That's the only contender I can really see him going to where the Blazers benefit in some type of area. But it's really hard for the Blazers to benefit in this area because there is no really contender that can give them young assets like that. Because what I thought of was a 76ers Mavericks Trailblazer 3-team trade. But the thing about that is the Sixers don't want to give up Maxey. The Sixers are willing to give up Tobias, but they don't want to give up Maxey. So I really don't know what the Blazers can do in a situation because your franchise star is disgruntled. Your franchise star doesn't want to be on this team. So you can force him on this team if you're the Blazers management, but I would rather you not want to force him to be on this team. Now people are discrediting Dame's loyalty, which I don't understand why, because we all as the NBA community wanted Dame to get traded. We all knew that Dame was being loyal. We all knew that Dame was doing all he can to help the Blazers and try to wait on the Blazers to help get to the championship. But Dame is entering his mid-30s. Dame is getting older and older, so we cannot keep on waiting for a trash franchise to try to rebuild around Dame, and they had a bunch of years to do so. They played so bad last season, they got a third overall pick. That isn't good for a team to have a star like that that's that old. Dame needs to get out of the situation. I'm glad he finally realized that and not waiting on the Blazers management. He finally realized that it's time for him to get away from that situation. The Blazers have tried to build around Dame so many times, but it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. Not say that the way that Dame plays isn't going to work, but the way that they try to rebuild around the Blazers isn't going to work. This team tries to have a scoring guard around Dame, which isn't bad. But when you get a scoring guard who has the same deficiencies Dame Lillard has, it's not going to work. The reason why Dame and CJ didn't work was because you had CJ McCollum, who's a great shot creator, a great offensive player, but he is a horrible defender, not a good playmaker, and he's just an offensive player, but he's not a good playmaker and not a good defender. And then we have Dame, who is an average defender, I would say is a good playmaker and an exceptional scorer. You have two bad defenders on your floor. So when you have two not so good defenders on your floor, it doesn't hide the deficiencies. It really shows your deficiencies even more. So that's why this team isn't going to work. The Blazers tried to put a scoring guard next to Dame instead of trying to put a defensive scoring guard or a high level 3-and-D wing. That's what's wrong with this Blazers team. They don't know how to rebuild around their star player. I'm glad Dame finally won out. I want to see him get traded in the next couple of days. I hope he goes to the team he wants to go to because Dame deserves that. Dame deserves to contend if he wants to contend because he did his heart for the Blazers team and he's tired of it and he wants to contend and win a championship. I'm glad Dame finally requested his trade.